டாட்டாவாலே இங்கே ஒரு ஏர்லைன் ஆரம்பிக்க முடியல. நீங்கள் யார் மாதிரி?
Deccan Airways flight number 582 is now ready for boarding.
I ran into my old army buddy, who was a helicopter pilot, who was with me. I said, what are you doing? He said, look, I'm not getting a job. I said, why? There's not a single helicopter in Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra and Maharashtra. And even the whole India, we had only about 15 helicopters. And we had hundreds of army pilots, air force pilots and naval pilots coming out, no jobs, ending up as security officers. Philippines had 80 aircrafts, helicopters. Brazil had 500 helicopters. Malaysia had 40. We had about 10 or 12. So I have no competition. So I just sensed it. And I said, let's start a helicopter company.
Why democracies fail? See, the issue is, it is not through coups. People who are elected in a democratic way take over and become autocrats, autocracy ಮಾಡಿ dictators ತರ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ.
They climb the steps of democracy and then throw the ladder. I think that is the real danger. We are poor more because of our policies than because of our brains or resources.
We are capable.
I think
System is not allowing.
System is not allowing.
Hello everyone. Today I have the privilege of having Captain Gopinath. Who doesn't know Captain Gopinath? You know, we all know him for various avatars of him. And one of the most important thing has been we in the public at large admire him for what he has done in terms of low cost airlines. He was the pioneer in starting it. Today, of course, everybody talks about it, but he was the pioneer, Deccan Airways. But there is more to that than Deccan Airways when you get to know Captain Gopinath. He's an amazing individual. His simplicity, his approach to issues, and his commitment to the society is enormous. And what he has done in his own hometown and what he has achieved coming from the family in Gurur, I think it's an interesting story to hear. You know, we will do it as a chat, Captain Gopinath,
sure.
and I'm very happy you are here. So I would like you to first talk about a little bit about yourself, what you have done, and then of course we will go to the issues we face, what are the things, how is this nation, all of that we can discuss.
Yeah. Thanks, Ajay, Dr. Ajay.
Ajay is good.
I mean, you're yourself such an accomplished, not only a surgeon, professionally, very accomplished, a great entrepreneur yourself. And you're doing so much of good work in fields of rural upliftment, in also I think hospital work for the poor people, both in Mysore here and in Gundlupet area, which you spoke to me about. So thanks for calling. I'm delighted, and of course, privileged to be speaking to you. You know, I was born in a remote village called Gurur. It is a very picturesque village on the bank of the river Hemavati.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is the main tributary to Kaveri River. My father was a teacher in the government school in Gurur itself, and also nearby villages. And I went barefoot to a school there.
How far was the school?
The school was very nearby from my house. It was in the village proper, which you have visited. And
Yes.
as you enter the village, you can see it.
Beautiful village.
Yeah. It's a very picturesque village. And just to give a very small description of it, which in the context of our country itself, and especially rural Karnataka. In all these ancient villages, there is an inner circle of houses, which is what they call a grahara, which is the Brahmin quarters. The next outer circle of that, on one side you have a vocational committee, which is also the caste.
Oh.
You have the Kumbara.
So it is divided based on caste.
The potter, the potter, the Gaudas are there, the farming community. The fishermen are there because that side, the Bestro, that's also close by the basket weavers. And if you come around like that, and you have on one side you have the Acharo.
No, it must have happened centuries ago.
Centuries ago. And the Harijans, what they call Dalits today, are always outside the village, in a small satellite village.
Oh, okay.
In those days, a stain from a Vedic past. When all communities are here, though in that there are layers and layers, and even the Muslims are in that.
Oh, there were even Muslims in this community.
Yeah. And the way to the temple, just as you come out of the Brahmin quarters, you get Ganigru. Right after the Ganigru, there were 3-4 Brahmins, 3-4 Muslim families, and you pass through the mosque to the temple.
Oh,
Okay.
population estimated. What was the population?
About 2,500.
So in 2,500 they had all these.
2,500, yeah, this is a small village. Now it must have gone a little more after that. But why I'm mentioning this is that my father would point it out to me. You know, I never went to school till my 5th standard. He said, I'll teach you at home, morning and evening.
Can teacher avaru? What kind?
He was good in literature. So obviously he knew Kannada literature.
Oh, okay.
He had also studied in the same school. And then gone to Bangalore and Central College and did his BA there and B.Ed. Then he became a teacher in various schools, including Gorur. And at some time later, he had to walk for 6-7 kilometers to the high school in the neighboring village when he became a headmaster. So, and what he would always point out to me were these, you know, he was himself very conscious because he was in the Gandhian movement, he got arrested and all that.
Oh, wow.
Because he defied that carrying this liquor. So they would come and arrest during the independence movement. So he was a very true Gandhiite. But at the same time, he was trapped himself, living in the Brahmin quarters, right? So he was feeling guilty. At the same time, he was unable to do anything much about it.
The culture was such.
The culture was such.
System would not.
But he would
allow
always talk to me about the Dalits. You know, when we'd go to the garden, he would take me to the river and taught me swimming. We swam there. Even in the river, we had where the Brahmins bathed in one place, the Gaudas bathed in another place, and the Dalits bathed in the slightly higher place. And my uncle Guru Ram Soyangar, through which my village also became famous. He was a very extraordinarily great Kannada short story writer.
Oh.
A lot of movies have been.
What was his full name?
Gururu Ramaswamy Iyengar. But he was called Gurur. He was a Sahitya Parishad Academy. In one he says, Namma Madivantike Iyengaru ಬಹಳ ಮಡಿಯಿಂದ ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಿಗೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಂಜಿಲ್ ನೀರು, ದಲಿತರ ಎಂಜಿಲ್ ನೀರು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದಲಿತರು ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. And you'd poke fun at our own. Anyway, so he would talk to me about the Dalits working in the field, as to how, you know, the slush and in the mud, and in rainy season they wear that gorga anta hakkoloru. Nowadays everybody wears a plastic. It was made of reeds. Hakkondo, a goni chila hakkondo, they would plant, because paddy is always planted in the rainy season, and they're in the slush, and they used to sing. You know, they had a song for planting, they had a plant for harvesting, they had a plant for ragi bisa padagulu antane. So it's look at that child, he's also in that mud there, he's playing. But you know, you complain when you come home with your mother, you don't eat on time, you say it's too hot. So he would always be pointing out to me those kind of things to show. He would never point out to the sahukar of the village. Even today, in every village there is a sahukar or a patel if it is a Gauda. If it is a Brahmin community, he says sahukar. He would never point a sahukar to me. But he would, for that I can dream, he would read me stories of Tagore or Gandhi or Bose or Socrates or Napoleon.
Oh, that? Wow.
Yes. He would make me sit next to him and read it. And sometimes in Kannada he would read it, sometimes in English. So that's how, so in one sense my father had 8 children. We had a small parcel of land. But we were not poor like the Dalits. We were not even poor like the small farmers. But he was always stretched. So he said my poverty in that sense was full of sunshine.
Yeah.
Because there was no envy. there were dreamings, but there was no envy. You never envied the rich man, but always counted the blessings. I mean, that was the greatest learning.
But the village was like a family.
Yes, yeah. It was also very communal. There were, I don't remember any, in the village itself, any Hindu Muslim. There were only 5 Muslim families. And one of the main Muslim of that village, in those family, he was also a big paddy merchant.
Oh, okay.
So he would come to our house and he would buy the paddy, and they all had high respect for
So
it.
there was a good integration.
Good
everything.
integration. And
How did you
and
come
also
out?
in the Muharram, for example, even in the Guru Ram Sangar story, it is there. Rathadalli, Edeyavaga, the Muslims in the early days used to play the music. He said, "Nam Brahmanra music gita, Dalitra music, it's got more verve." Adikinda ನೀವು Muslims, they had to come to pull the Ratha.
Even now, as we go forward, we have to talk about it because ಆ ಥರ integration ಇತ್ತು, respect ಇತ್ತು. ಇವಾಗ what do you think as you fast forward? We'll come back to your story. What has changed? ಇವಾಗ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿನೇ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. And we question Muslims as somebody who don't belong here ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು ಇದು. What has changed? What has made that change? Is the political system, or is it the votes to get votes? What has happened?
I think, we always had, riots in towns, many towns usually. For example, let's say the Dalit. The Dalit ate beef. Right? ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹಸು ಸತ್ತೋದ್ರೆ, ದನ ಸತ್ತೋದ್ರೆ, like nobody teaches a bird how to make the nest, or a spider how to weave a web. The Dalits were the ones who were always called by everybody. On the hasu ಇನ್ನೇನು ಸಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ they would call him. So they were the ones who would take it, even today, then also. And then they were also ones who would eat beef in its natural form when it is alive. And they would also had a knack of finding out meat which is good in a cow that was already dead.
Okay.
And it also gave them great nutrition, because mutton in those days was 5 rupees, chicken was 4, this was only 50 paise a kilo. So it was nature's way of, God's way or nature's way of compensating the poor, because they would get crabs from the paddy fields, they would fish from the river, and they would get greens, and they would get beef. And they were the hardest working also, right? Compared to all other communities, they were all the hardest working. So there's something extraordinarily good about it, and society accepted it. And in fact, my grandfather would joke sometimes, suppose if a cow doesn't come back from grazing and is lost for 2-3 days, he would joke, has it already ended in the plates of you people? So that kind of bonhomie was there. And I don't remember any Hindu-Muslim riot in my village, but it's been there from the 1947 it started. And it largely got, I think, politicized, and it just happened. But today, I think, along with Congress, where you have to blame them for the caste conflicts, I think the fact that there is something about the present politics, which is, on the one hand, they talk of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. These are all from the Upanishadic times, where in the Upanishad, in Veda, the Hindu word is not there at all. Hinduism itself is not there. The Upanishad is basically a quest for it's a spiritual quest to understand the meaning of life. I think it is the greatest document in terms of the spiritual quest. That is, we are all the time inquiring as to the meaning of this world. But somewhere down the ages, this caste has come, and religion has come. And today it is totally vitiated, largely because of politics. Earlier, all castes would vote
ಹೌದು.
separately, depending on the caste. Hindus would vote and block to Congress because of whatever heritage they had in terms of through Gandhi or through Nehru. Today, unfortunately, there is polarization on communal lines, and but at the same time, we also have, there is this constant talking about how Hindus are
ಅದು
are also in the same breath. They are also talking about when we talk about Hinduism, we are not talking of Hinduism as a religion. We are talking
Hindutva.
Hinduism as a culture. So it's a Hindu culture. So everybody must see the greatness of Hinduism was that it accepted even a nihilist as one of the part of your growth. When in fact during Shankara's time, when the Buddhists started destroying Hindu temples, the Charavakas amongst the Hindus started attacking Hindus. Then you also had the hedonists there who questioned Hinduism as it was taught. Shankara, starting from Kerala, when he was 19, was such a precautious person. Instead of building an army against the Buddhists or this one, he said, let me spread the greatness of Hinduism, and walked from there to Sringeri, and then from there south, first Sringeri Mata, then Puri on the east coast, then to Dwarka on the west
ಅಲ್ಲ
coast.
ಅದೊಂದೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ ಹಿಂದೂಯಿಸಮ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಸಿ ಇಟ್, ದ ಥಿಂಗ್ ವಾಸ್ ಓಕೆ. ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಮ್, ಹಿಂದೂಯಿಸಮ್ ವಾಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲೆವರ್. ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬುದ್ಧನೂ ನಾವು ವಿಷ್ಣು ಅವತಾರ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ.
Yes.
So we accepted him as
In fact,
one
if
of
you go to the Belur temple,
Yeah.
Ali, Buddha is there in the. Here's one more.
So we have come a long way in becoming very secular and all. But I think we'll talk about it more as we proceed on this. And mainly I wanted to know from you. Yeah, mainly ನೀವು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ you went into Sainik school, military ಹೋದ್ರಿ, ಆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ it will be very interesting.
The first day I went to school was on 5th. We were all barefoot. There were no uniform in those days. But as you said, but I also noticed even then that the other students were coming. There was only one school for about 20 villages. They were coming from across the river, walking 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers. They would come drenched to the school. I was all the time conscious that I was myself privileged, though we were not the richest in the village. So somewhere in my 7th standard, the headmaster, Mr. Nanjudaya, I still remember, he came and said, anybody wants to go and apply for a military school exam.
Wow.
Military school exam.
7th standardನಲ್ಲಿ.
And so I just lifted my hand. And then I did it more because my father had asked him once, what is a military hotel? When you walk around. Even today in Gororul is military hotel. He said military andre ಸೈನ್ಯ, ಆ ಮಿಲಿಟ್ರಿ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಂಸ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರ ಹೋಟೆಲ್, ವೀರಶೈವರ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಸೇ ಇದು ವೆಜಿಟೇರಿಯನ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್, ಇಸ್ ಎ ವೀರಶೈವರ ಹೋಟೆಲ್, ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರ ಹೋಟೆಲ್. ಮಿಲಿಟ್ರಿ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇರಿಯನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಂದರೆ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರು. And I was a small puny boy, so in that sense maybe I should go leave this village. ನಮ್ಮ ಪೂತಿ ನರಸಿಂಹಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಕೋಟ್ ದಿಸ್, ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಇದಿದೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಪೋಯಮ್, 3 lines. It says ಗುಡಿಯಾಚೆ ಗಿಡದಾಚೆ ಗಡಿಯಾಚೆ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಬಂದಿರೋ ಹೊಸ ನಾಡಿಗೆ. So he says if you let's go beyond the temple, beyond the woods, beyond the borders, let's go and seek new lands yonder. But you cannot seek new lands unless you are ready to leave your home or the shore for a long time. A ship is built to go on the high seas without guarantee of reaching the other shore. So, but if you want safety, buy a property on the beach. But if you want to discover something, that adventure has to be there. So in that sense, I lifted my hand. So I went to Hassan to give the exam. That exam was in English.
Oh.
And I was in a Kada medium school. So in that science and other this one, I could not understand. So I came back and with tears in my eyes, I told the headmaster, agoytu. Don't, he who walks stumbles. He said, he patted me in this. But what he had done, I came to know later, which was a big lesson for me the first.
Yeah.
He's in that village, his Gorur Halli in 1961, 62, I think 62. He put a postcard into the local post office. I said, you are insulting rural Kannada people. English is not intelligence. English is another language. If you want rural people to join the military, which is already very low, if you want rural people to join the military, because largely it is from Punjab and Sikhs and UP and Uttarakhand and Jammu, then you give the exam in their language. And he forgot about it. He did his job. One Lieutenant Colonel Malik, because he later became the principal of the Sainik school, one Lieutenant Colonel Malik was in the defense ministry looking after these exams. It was a defense ministry exam. He replied, thanks for bringing it to our notice.
Wow.
So nice of you. We thank you for
It
it.
shows some effort. Small effort could have.
Do not take no for an answer. It's always good to question.
Very important message. Don't take no for an answer.
Take no for an answer. Question. Even if it's a guru, question it. You have respect, but question it. So then I went again.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಾಗ
ಈ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸಲ ಹೋದೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಮೊಹಮ್ಮದ್ ಗಜ್ನಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸಲ ಹೋದೆ ಇಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಐ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ದೆನ್ ಐ ವೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಸೈನಿಕ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಬಿಜಾಪುರ್.
ಎಲ್ಲಿತ್ತು ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲು?
ಬಿಜಾಪುರ್. ದಿ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಆಫರ್ಡ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈಸೂರ್. Then Kanti, there was an education minister, Kanti. And Jati was the chief minister. They were all from North Karnataka. North Karnataka is a backward area. So they said it's better to give it to North Karnataka. I think it was a good decision. So it was set up in Bijapur. So there was no building, nothing. Today they've got a 500-acre campus with horses and swimming pool and everything. But in those days, there was nothing. So they had set up some tents and they had taken a small few rooms from Vijaya College. One college, temporarily they gave it for 3-4 years. That's how I joined. And Ali, of course, there was already a kind of a glass wall. There were students who had come from convent education like Bishop Cotton, St. Joseph's. And there were others from the rural areas. But I think when you are a child and if the teachers are good, because of the first principal, Malik, but by the time the school started, he left. Then one Sardarji came. This is the first time I saw a Sardar. When Commander K.D. Singh. My headmaster was again another Sardar, Harcharan Singh. The registrar was Bengali. They were all from the army, these three. And the teachers from all over India, in Bijapur, some from Karnataka.
So ನೀವಾಗ ಸೈನಿಕ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ you went into, tell us how you became army.
Then in my 10th standard, after I was in my 10th standard, there's a UPSC examination given. Today it's after the 12th standard. There's a UPSC exam, which is the body which conducts exams for IPS, IAS and army officers. Okay. And so I took that. And in my school at that time, we were only 13 people. And my class, because they couldn't get any admission for science school. Because of the military. Yaar military hogad beda. Just like in Gujarat, Karnataka, it's all zero. So anyway, I was the only one who passed the exam for the first time in the NDA. It was a competitive exam. Then there is an interview and there's a medical. There's a 3 days vivos where you have to go for an interview physically, where they put you obstacle course and psychology test. I passed and then I joined National Defence Academy. There it is a 3-year training. It is a 7,000-acre campus.
ಎಲ್ಲಿತ್ತದು?
It's in Khadakwasla, Pune. It's one of the best campuses in the world because I visited others too. It has got everything under the sun. It's got a lake for sailing for naval people. It's got an aerodrome for gliding. It's got weapons training. It has got firing ranges. It's got horse riding, gymnastics. There's nothing that is not there.
So once you pass out of that, you become what, like a lieutenant?
So in NDA, there were one slogan which I think is relevant today for all of us.
Yes.
as an organization. He says the safety, honor and welfare of your country comes first, always and every time. The safety, honor and welfare of your country comes first, always and every time. You can replace it with your organization.
Correct.
The safety, welfare and comfort of yourself comes when you command. Comes next, always and every time. Your own safety and welfare and comfort come last every time. I think that encapsulates all leadership also. It was there. We all had a cabin for ourselves. We all had a cycle for ourselves. Everywhere had to cycle or had to run. And we had one study table. We had one orderly to take our clothes for laundry and polish our shoes and things like that. But it was also very tough. Tough means the toughest training, toughest ragging. And once when I went for one of my morning parades, one button was missing. So this guy who was there, a senior, he looked at me and says, Claude, you don't have a button. What time did you get up? Why didn't you check up? So he just took his hand and pulled my shirt. So all the buttons fell off. So I can't now go. I've got another 10 minutes to stitch it because they're doing the roll call. And he said, take a handkerchief. I don't want to see any space. Stitch buttons on that in such a manner I can't see the handkerchief. And report in front of my cabin, his cabin, at 10 o'clock in the night in swimming trunks. He said that and he left. So I ran to my room and I had to get another shirt which was not fully ironed. Wore that. Then he got ticked off again for not wearing the unironed shirt because he said you got an orderly, you got all those kind of things. Anyway, that was the first lesson for me, never to go sloppily dressed. And anyway, at night at 10 o'clock I went.
So with Mugsid Pele, you became what?
Yeah. After this, the naval people went to Bombay or Cochin. Air Force people went to the Flying School Hyderabad. The Army people went to the Indian Military Academy.
You were in Army?
I went to the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, which is again one of the great institutions.
Famous place.
Very famous place. And it was also started in somewhere in 1940s or something. Right? Before that, all people like General Kumar Mangalam, Manik Shah, Thapar, Timaya, Karyappa, they all went to Sandhurst in UK during the British times. Then it became an Indian one. So from Indian Military Academy, I chose, you had to choose your arms, 1 year training. So 4 in Science School, 3 here and 8 years training. Which also shows like in doctors, I think, training and training and training. And even after the army, it's continuously training. So I chose artillery, which is the heavy guns, which is also called the arms. The front arms is the infantry. Then the other arms are artillery, armored core tanks, signals and engineers. So I chose artillery. I went straight to the artillery gunnery school, which has got an initial 6 months course, just a refresher course to familiarize you with guns. Then you go to the unit, then you can come back for a 3-year long-term gunnery course. Then you got a long-term...
So you became what?
So when I was I got commissioned as a second lieutenant.
Second lieutenant.
Yeah, I went straight to Devlali. But my course was cut short because the war was in the air. The Pakistan had imposed martial law on East Pakistan.
Bangladesh war.
It was called East Pakistan.
Yeah,
so my course was cut short and instead of 6 months, we did 3 months. And my entire batch of about 30 people, similarly the infantry people who are doing commando course and the tank people, all of them were dispatched to the different units, some to the Eastern Front, some to the Western Front. I was sent directly to the Eastern Front to my unit, which was in Sikkim. My unit was in Sikkim at 10,000 feet. I went by train without coming home from the school.
I recently went to Nepal border. I was there trekking. Same army quarters.
It's all part of Tibet now, where Sikkim. So I went to a place called Siliguri. And from Siliguri, there is a truck which came, that is a place from where you go to Bhutan, you go to Sikkim, and you go to Darjeeling.
Correct.
So my truck, my army jeep came in to pick me up. And Siliguri, just to as a geographical knowledge, is also called as Chicken Neck.
Yes.
So on the north you have got Bhutan, which is an independent country. Then you have got Sikkim, which was an independent
At that time.
kingdom at that time. Indira Gandhi then made it a part of Indian state. So there's only 30 kilometers gap. Then
China.
you got this side Bangladesh. Other side of Bengal is Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
So to go to northeastern states and to a little bit of Bengal of Kuch Bihar, you have to go to this 30 kilometers.
Chicken Neck.
So if somebody comes and captures us 30 kilometers from China, for example, you're cut off from the entire northeast, Arunachal and all the 7 states. So I reached my unit at 10 o'clock, at about 6 o'clock in the night. It was at 10,000 feet. And my chap who was in charge of me, one lieutenant, I was a second lieutenant, he said, Captain, don't unpack. Morning 4 o'clock, we are rolling down the hills with the guns. So keep everything in your bag and be ready. So the whole night people were packing because the army is already kept there. This goes to the base, this comes to the front. All the boxes are weighed and kept because we know exactly how many trucks you require.
Yeah.
And if you're going by train, how many train bogies you require.
Wow.
Everything is packed, ammunition boxes, guns. Guns had to be towed. And if you had a mule brigade, then the guns are removed and put on the mules. Stripped in.
So you were in active war?
I went straight next morning to 33 Corps headquarters, where the the Corps headquarters was there, which was an army which launches the attack. And there's 4 Corps and 33rd Corps. And I went there, and 2 months before, or 3 months before, actually Indian troops were already inside Bangladesh, because there was a lot of skirmishes going on.
Yeah.
The Mukti Bahini, which was a rebel force, where a lot of people from the police and army left and formed a force to fight the martial law.
Yeah.
So we were training them, and 10 million Bangladeshi Muslim, East Pakistan Muslim refugees came into India. Today we are talking of few hundred, thousand. So all the 10 million were accommodated. It was Indira Gandhi's time. They were given food and.
ನಮ್ಮ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಾದಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಸೆಂಟ್ ಜಾನ್ಸ್ದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು. See, I know some of the doctors, a lot of them went there.
During wartime, one doctor was also in my unit. He was from Mysore actually. You get a letter in the post, registered post. You have been commissioned into the Indian Army. If you are a doctor, MBBS doctor, as a second lieutenant or a captain, join on so date. And the war was, initially it was very hard battles, Bangladesh side and West Pakistan even tougher.
Correct.
But eventually, because of the brilliant strategy of Manik Shah and the army commanders and the leadership of Indira Gandhi, it was also a degenerate army, which was involved in raping and.
ಭಾಳ ಇತ್ತು.
So it collapsed immediately. In 15 days, a lot of people, of course, died.
ನಾವು ಇದರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮೂವಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಫಿಲಮ್ ಬರೋದು ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವೈಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ರಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸೋರು ಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಫ್ಲೋಟಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಸಿಟೀಸ್.
In the end, a war, everybody loses.
Yeah, victor also loses.
The victor also loses. You lose people, somebody is orphaned, somebody is widowed, somebody loses legs, somebody loses eyes.
Very sad.
It's very sad. And a lot of destruction of villages and farms and houses and buildings. After the war, then I was posted back into Sikkim, and we lost some officers from my unit, some soldiers, and I was posted back to Sikkim. My unit went back to Sikkim. I was then posted at 15,000 feet in a place called Chola, where the maximum temperature in summer -2,
Wow.
and in winter was -35 to 40. It is next to Chola, next to Nathula and Chola. Nathula became very famous in 62 war because the Chinese. Overran us there. So I was there for 18 months. And it was also a glorious experience because I did a lot of trekking, long range patrols and things like that. I did a few more courses. Then I went to the Assam border, then I went to Kashmir, then I went to Trivandrum. I got injured in the mountaineering training there. I fell into a glacier. Then I was admitted to the Srinagar base hospital. After that, I came back to a brigade in South. Then after 8 years, in between,
Oh, 8 years you were in army. And you became captain by then.
I became captain when I got commissioned when I was 20 as a second lieutenant. I became a captain as 22.
Wow.
And at about 26 or so, when I was about 26 years old, I felt, I had now seen the war. I had 8 years of training, 8 years of army. I said, and also I did a few other things. I took a motorcycle and traveled from Deccan Airways all over North India, 3,000 kilometers.
Very adventurous. Yeah.
Then I went to USA, I took a 4-month trip. I did hitchhiking and some trekking here and there. I went from the East Coast to the West Coast. Wow. I took a Greyhound pass, which I could get on anywhere, get off anywhere. So $500. And I went from Washington, then to New York, upstate New York, Ohio, and all across to Illinois to Yellowstone National Park.
Which year was this?
1978. I went all across to...
You didn't run across to me. I was also in Greyhound. 1975.
Then I went to the other side, where Yellowstone National Park, and I came back after about 12 hours.
Ivaga, I think I want to ask you about this change. What is it made you go into Airways, Deccan Airways?
I'll just come before. So what happened was that I then said, the army was great life, still the most secular of all the life, still the least corrupt, but very, 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 very secular and very adventurous. I loved that everything. But I said I must do something more. What I did not know, but I knew that I didn't want to be in government service anymore. Yeah. So I said the best thing would be go back to my village and do some farming. So I came back to Gorur.
Oh, farming.
And suddenly my father was almost fainted. He was in shock. He said, what happened to you? I put so much hopes in you and dreams in you that you became an officer, you were a captain at 26, 27, and now you come back. What will you do? So I said, I want to take to farming. I said, firstly, you are such a fool. All of us are becoming doctors, engineers, all my father's brothers, somebody is a chartered accountant, somebody is a surgeon, you met him, somebody is in the IBM, they're all, going out, and we are finding it difficult even today. He's like, we are not getting labor. It is not a very payable occupation. How have you destroyed your life? He was very true about it. I said, I would like to do, if I've trained 8 years and 8 years in the army, if I can't make a life for myself, it has been useless, that means, right? But so I never disbelieved that I will not succeed. Not in terms of becoming a Birla, that to make a life which I'm passionate about. So, and I always liked rural life, I liked the village life, I liked farming life, which my father himself had instilled in me. Correct. So, but he said all our lands are submerged, we lost it. We had about 500 acres, some of it was in tenancy, some we got. So we have got the family, 7 acres each, my father and brothers, 30 acres, in a place in a remote area. I said, have you seen it? He said, no, we have not seen it. So I had an Enfield motorcycle and went there to that village. From there I walked 5 kilometers. There was no road because it was all rutted. Took a village accountant, we crossed a stream and he stood on the top of a hill. He said, this is your land. And something came over me and I started dreaming as what I could do. I said, I can do sericulture, silkworm rearing, I can put coconut plants, that'll take 10 years. So I had to hold on for 10 years, right? Then I'll have dairy for milk. Every day I'll get some income, I'll get some milk for myself.
Amazing.
I'll have a gobar gas plant because there was no electricity for cooking and a light. It's the greatest invention. that gobar gas plant. And I have bananas, I have crops, As I was seeing and dreaming, I was also deciding. So I came back to Bangalore and took a dog, bought a Doberman dog, bought an army tent, and an army rifle which was given to me, which was captured in Pakistan. I had that. I took a Dalit boy and told my father I'll go and set up. So I went and set up a tent there. So I took 1 month's provisions. My mother gave me all the ingredients, and I took also pots and pans and all the farming equipment. Put everything on a tent. My dog, I had a Dalit boy with me. I took him also. He was also looking for freedom. And what they call is bonded labor was abolished. It is abolished, but it still existed. Somebody will come and say, I want 5,000 rupees. Take my boy. And when I give the 5,000 rupees back, give my boy back. So he will not be able to give that 5,000 rupees back. So he'll come. So there were quite a few boys in that village like that. There was one. So I took him also with me. He also wanted freedom. So I started camping, and I was there for the next 10 years. So one day, I'll cut the story short and come to the aviation. My father called me. I was in a tent, and he called me, though, you are 27 now. You are cooking yourself along with this Dalit boy. I think you should marry. I don't have a bungalow. I left the army with 6,500 rupees. My last salary was 1,300. My starting salary when I became a second lieutenant was 405 rupees, 270 rupees of my high altitude allowance. My mess bill was only about 3 to 4 rupees. So the 500 rupees are all savings for me. But it was a good life. And even an IPS officer got about 400. I got about 600 because it was in the high altitude. So I didn't put in 20 years. I got 6,000 rupees.
Saved.
Was my gratuity. Savings I didn't have much because I went to USA, here, there and all. So with that 6,000 rupees I came. And but what I had was this you can say enthusiasm, inexhaustible enthusiasm, some kind of energy. And so when I went to the tent and put everything, then I was, after dinner at night, I was sleeping under the stars. In one sense, I had nothing, and in one sense, I had everything. Because I could do something.
Correct.
So my father said, "Maduve agbeku neenu anta." Naan helide ನನಗೆ bungalow ella himmat. They must be thinking I'm still a captain in the army or a big planter. He said, so when I get some study income, he said, by that time, he said, you'll be old man. Then second thing he said, listen to me. Do you mean to say poor people cannot marry? That means all the poor people in India are unmarried. Because if they say, when I become rich, I'll then marry. So you marry. So I said, okay, come and see that girl. So I went to see her. We met her.
Yeah.
And she came. I said, you must come and see. Met her in my village, Goro. But my farm was 100 kilometers away. I said, come and see. I'm living in a tent. And there's nothing there. So you come and see it. She said, no. Because I think the fact that I said I'm in a tent, I had a motorcycle, all those things must have also got. So I said, no, I can't marry you. You must come and see it. So one day, her father was a DDPI in Shimoga. So though she was from a rural area, but she has been living, father was an employee, she was in cities. So they fixed a date, and they said they're coming by bus from Shimoga to this place. And I was there, and my neighbor, Manjagowda antidru. I was also farming in those days, working with my hand, watering, cutting this. But he was a real farmer, broad-chested, real, shake his hands, you could, it would crush you. He was that kind of a guy. And I was sitting with him, and he said, sir, again, there are no taxis there in the village. I got a motorcycle, they are birthday there, how do I bring them? He said, sir, yaake yochne ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ನಾನು ಎತ್ತಿನ ಗಾಡಿ ಇದೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. So He called his son, ಅವರ ಹೆಸರು ಶೀನಾ ಅಂತ, ಮಗನ ಹೆಸರು ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ ಇಷ್ಟಲ್ದೆ ಮಂಜುಗೌಡ. he said, ಶೀನಾ ಅವರು ರಾಮ ಭೀಮಾ ಎತ್ತಿದೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡು. ರಾಮ ಭೀಮಾ ವಾಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸ್ಟಡಿ, ದೇ ನಾಟ್ ಫ್ರಿಸ್ಕಿ. ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ ಕುಂಕುಮ ಹಾಕಿ ಅಲಂಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಚಾಪೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಗಾಡಿ ಮೇಲೆ, ಇದು ಹಳೆ ಗಾಡಿ, ದೊಡ್ಡ 5 feet wheels. And I brought them. And I was sitting below and it was coming down the slope and I could hear the bells. It was coming in the ratted thing like this, with her mother, her father and sister. And he suddenly jumped. He said, hey, munde magne, yen kadane hakilla anta. Kadane is a pin on the wheel. That means it would have come off.
It would have come off.
And there was precious cargo there. And anyway, no mishap took place. So I think that's when I believed that marriages are made in heaven.
Yeah.
And the first thing her mother told me was, ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ ಬರೀ ಮುಳ್ಳೆ ಇರೋದು, ನಿನಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಟೈಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. I could hear it. So I said, talk to her. I told her, yes, I come only because I didn't want to come to an existing farm. I came to create a farm. So obviously she was more courageous. My wife was more courageous.
Impressed with love.
Yeah. So then we got married. Then I had 2 daughters.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಆಯ್ತು ಹೇಳಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡೆಕ್ಕನ್ನು.
Then I came to Bangalore. ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ coconut farm came. I became a very celebrated silkworm farmer.
Oh, wow.
I did a lot of work in silkworm rearing. And this people do not know. I got a Rolex award for my work on sericulture, on ecological farming, sustainable ecological farming. And in between, because my farm was not paying, I set up a motorcycle dealership. I had 8 branches.
Wow, you became true entrepreneur. All of this.
Because ನನಗೆ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದ ದುಡ್ಡು ಸಾಕಾಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. Then I realized there's no point complaining. So I had a motorcycle. One day when I went to Hassan, the motorcycle shop was closed. It was 7 o'clock, it was drizzling. I had to come back to my farm. It was not starting. I went there. He said, sir, close ಆಗೋಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋದ ಮುಂದೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ 2 ತಿಂಗಳಾಯ್ತು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. I was thinking then, then Hassan needs a dealership. ಆ ಕಡೆ ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಗಳೂರು ಇದೆ, ಈ ಕಡೆ
thinking logically.
ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕೂರ್ಗ್ ಇದೆ. It's a headquarters. There were only 2 motorcycles in those, Java and Ideal Java, Iranidu, idu. Then instead of going to my farm, I had another friend there, and I said, let's go to Chennai. That was the headquarters of Enfield, to ask for a dealership.
Oh, okay.
So I took a night bus and went to Chennai. I went straight to the managing director's office, Vishwanathan, contacted somebody. And he sent me to the manager of general manager. He said, Captain, ನೀವು ಶೆಟ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಬನಿಯಲ್ಲ, ಮಾರ್ವಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, you're ex-army man, plus doing farming. What do you know about business? ಅಂತ. I said, I don't know anything about business, but what I know is you're doing a bad job, lousy job of customer service. I got a motorcycle. I know what a customer wants. Your dealership is closed for the last 2 months, and you do not even know about it. So give me the dealership. So with that one sentence of mine, he gave me the dealership. So I took Enfield dealership, I took Honda dealership, then I had 7-8 branches in Chikmagalur. Then I had a Udupi hotel, then I had a stockbroking company.
Wow.
Then I shut all that after some time. Shut means I gave it off to those people who are looking after it. Then when I got this Rolex award for enterprise, which was on ecological farming, I set up an agriculture consultancy company, both in Hassan and Bangalore, and Mysore and other places, to give training on horticulture and agriculture, organic and irrigation systems. So I had by now these failures had given me enough learnings. As someone said, it is not the glory of man is not in falling or failing,
Getting up.
but in getting up each time you fall.
Mandela, I think.
I think Victor Hugo or somebody said that. But Mandela said in different ways, he said, when you climb one mountain, he said, there are more mountains to climb, which is also true. You climb one mountain, then there's one more. But for most of us, I think this is a message I want to give everybody, that you're a failure only when you quit.
Yeah. Very important, only when you quit you become failed. Atha agalla andre you're failed.
Just like ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಥೆನೂ ನಾವು ಓದಿದಾಗ, when you had decided to not give up business, you give up life. Something came in you and said, I'm getting some other message.
Never walk back.
Never walk back. So I think, Elon Musk said differently. He said, if you, in some years you fail, you lose, and the other years you build.
Correct.
You have failed now you build. And in that sense, when you fail, you learn. When you win, you win. So there should be no regrets. So I also forgot to tell that during that agriculture time, I also contested an election.
Correct. I was going to ask you, election.
I contested an election because in those days, there were only two parties, Congress and Janata Dal in Karnataka.
Yes.
There was no BJP, zero. Everything was Devagowda or Congress, Ashish Shekantaya and 2-3 other people. Big stalwarts. In every village there was a fight, every village there was somebody's leg is cut off. This one. Very caste, very Gowda, very Lingayat, and a little bit of Dalit. So one day I got a call from a RSS functionary, and he was an auditor. He says, Gopinath, I didn't know he was an RSS functionary, but somehow, so he said, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಂದು ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಾನು, ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ತಿಂಡಿಗೆ ಅಂತ. So I said, okay, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. I went. So I thought I could find out who he is. So I went to his house, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾವಾಗ, ಹೀಗೆ ನೀವು ಮಿಲಿಟ್ರಿಲಿ ಇದ್ದವರು, ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಿ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹೆಸರು ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ, there are very few people like you. ನಾವೀಗ BJPನಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ನಾವು ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಕಟ್ಟೋಕ್ಕೆ. There was zero in ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ. ನಾವು ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಲೋರ್. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನೀವು why can't you join BJP? No. And become the president of BJP, Hassan. Then I said, my wife didn't like it. And even we were, we should say politics is dirty. Instead of cleaning it up, you will become dirty, right? Most often, instead of changing, you get changed. All these things were went through me, but all the time I used to find myself criticizing.
So you think it's very difficult to, even now you think difficult to change politics? Or is
No. It's definitely, it's not easy to change politics. But ultimately, things change only because some individual will have the courage to believe in an idea. Gandhi itself, when he came.
Ivaga, when people say we have this party, that party, there is also a saying, you get what you deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. Gandhi ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು. You get the government you deserve. Yeah.
That means you can change.
Absolutely.
It is in your hands.
Mamdani recently.
He
is an immigrant who came to America when he was 7, and he is a Muslim. Mother is Hindu, father is Muslim, but he adopted Muslim as a religion. He has come as an immigrant, and in a country where now there is white supremacy, racism at its peak, and where they're cracking down on immigrants, spewing hatred.
ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ, they don't want any browns in there.
They don't want any browns. And already racial hatred is there, which Trump milked it. Like, even here we do it on casteism, right? Or in religious, this one. He milked it. And when there is no hope, when the whole Democratic Party had given up, one guy, an immigrant himself, and also a Muslim, he came up and won in New York, which is something. Amazing. It also shows that, like Napoleon said in some place, there are only two forces in the world. In one of his rare moments, the greatest emperor of all time, he told his general, he was the emperor by the time, he said, you know, there are only two forces in the world, the spirit and the idea and the sword. In the end, the idea and the spirit will always win. Which is true. And throughout history, whether it was Buddha at that time or Gandhi or Christ, I think we can't give up hope. Even in India,
we want to come and I want to discuss the present situation. ಆದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಆಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಡೆಕ್ಕನ್ದು ಒಂದು quickly if you tell, because we have to spend few minutes talking about the future also. So what are the learning curves from that?
So what I want was, then I came to Bangalore with all these things. I said I must go to Bangalore now, firstly to give education to my children. They had studied locally. They had got a good village grounding. Now I should move to Bangalore and give them some education in schools. I put them in Bishop Gardens and I shifted here, and I had also a small business here. So I came here and I was playing squash and tennis in the army club. So I had kept in touch with the army colleagues. And I ran into my old army buddy from, was a helicopter pilot, who was with me.
Okay.
We were in the same bunker during the exercises. We were in the same trenches in the exercises. Outstanding guy. He was an outstanding helicopter pilot. He had 3 children. He had resigned, took premature retirement like me, little later, with 20 years of experience. So he was still 40. And he had a gallantry award for Kashmir against terrorists and all that. So he and I were playing, and he said, I said, what are you doing? He said, look, I'm not getting a job. I said, why? He says, there are no helicopters. So I'm not getting a job. So I came back to, so I started looking, did some work. There's not a single helicopter in Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, and Maharashtra, except there was one dilapidated helicopter with HAL, the 20-year-old helicopter with the chief minister. Otherwise, no private helicopter. And even in the whole India, we had only about 15 helicopters. And we had hundreds of army pilots, Air Force pilots and naval pilots coming out. No jobs, ending up as security officers or administrative officers. And this guy is an outstanding guy. He's still 40, 3 children, no job. And once in a way he would get a call, he would go to Northeast to fly for somebody, ONGC. But that got me thinking. Then I was in China with a delegation of farmers, of silk farmers. There, when I was sitting in rural headquarters, in taluk headquarters in 1995, 96, they had skyscrapers, they had karaoke bars, everywhere construction going on. In my room there was one thing which said, single window for clearance. And I said, if China had embraced capitalism, Russia's collapse. It was the early days when chief ministers were competing to get investment because they realized that they can't create jobs. Public sector is under loss. The only way is to attract private sector.
Good point.
So I said these 3 things. I had the greatest advantage, I got human resource, pilots and engineers available. Philippines had 80 aircrafts, helicopters. Brazil had 500 helicopters. Malaysia had 40. We had about 10 or 12. That too old world, even Ambani didn't have. And so I have no competition. And the country is on the way to reforms. Narasimha Rao had come.
Right time.
So I just sensed it. And I said, let's start a helicopter company. And first he said, let's start with the spraying. But I had just won a Rolex award and also deeply believed we can't do this crop spraying of pesticides. So that's how I said the idea came. And someone said, everything starts with an idea, a dream. Someone said, if you can dream it, you can do it. I think Walt Disney said that. But your dream must possess you. That must become an obsession. It must possess you to the point, in a Vedantic way, you become the dream and the dream becomes you. And to quote another real life example, when this guy Wright brothers, who were bachelors, they invented the flight. When they were asked, why aren't you married? He said, I didn't have time both for aeroplane and my wife. So I didn't marry. So I'm not advising people not to marry, but I'm saying that kind of obsession to the point of madness has to happen. Then only a venture will succeed. Whether it is Bhimsen Joshi, who left his house looking for Guru when he was 8 or 9, or Gandhi who got this. They were all people who dreamt of something and believed in it. So self-trust is the first secret of success. So I never asked how much does a helicopter cost, fortunately. I never went to McKinsey to find out because
Very important. You never took a consultant. Let us hire a consultant. Let us see what. Your intuition was there. That was the main.
I will say it. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಗಾದೆ ಇದೆ, ಅಂಗೈನ ಹುಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡಿ ಬೇಕೆ ಅಂತ. You have an abscess in your palm. You don't need a mirror. Mirror is a guru. A mirror is so if you go and tell Steve Jobs or Narayan Murthy or I want to do this. No, he is not saying what you are saying. Vision is the art of seeing the invisible.
So important.
It's a paradox. Vision is seeing, but it's the art of seeing the invisible is what? Invisible is the future. Invisible is what you're going to create. So I said, I can see myself that India needs helicopters, not just for glamour tourism. You need it for infrastructure. Because when your roads are bad, when it takes 10 hours to reach somewhere, you need it for aerial mapping, aerial survey, photography, mineral survey, medical evacuation. Even today, we don't have a single dedicated air ambulance in the country.
Correct.
America, one company has 500 dedicated air ambulance company, which is air ambulance. Right? We had in my younger days, there was no ambulance. Even in Hassan, you have to hire a jetka gadi or hire a car.
Correct.
Somebody's, a bus, you have to take a patient. So, an obstacle becomes an opportunity.
Absolutely.
So I said, we'll start a helicopter company. So it took me, so here as you look at operations, and since I had fallen and risen, I had done so many businesses, I said, I'll look after this. All that came to my help. And my chartered accountant once told me when I was having a partnership company, he says, Captain, I'm forming a partnership company for you with another partner. One advice, think over. It is under the Indian Partnership Act of 1800 something. It is easier to divorce your wife than your partner. So choose your partner carefully. All those things, should be in good stead. So I formed a private limited company along with Sam as my partner. I was fortunate that he was in the shadows, but all the credit should go to him.
What was his full name?
Captain K.J. Samuel. So we started this. But it took me 3 years, 95 to 97 September. It took me 2 years and 10 months to get one line from the Ministry of Civil Aviation to say, we have no objection for you to start a helicopter service company in India. For that one line. And but I did not bribe. I want to tell everybody, because people always say, and regret sometimes, ನನಗೆ ಯಾರೋ ದೊಡ್ಡಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲ.
So ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, since you said you built entire organization without bribery, which I have also fought on, none of HCG's land or anything, not even 1 rupee grant from government. Like you said, ಇದು ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಹೆಂಗೆ 25 ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, whatever you said, no, we have done it. Nobody has done it in the world without any bribe. So when people say, let us bribe ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ ಕಂಟ್ರಿನಲ್ಲಿ. So what is the message we should send? I think my way of looking at it is the path is more important than the end. See, whether you succeed or not, the road you take is important. Once you bribe, you think you are taking a shortcut, you have defeated yourself. Whatever it is, I think you have to decide. See, does the end justify the means, or the means more important? What is your view on that?
See, definitely one is in that kind of rage actually. He says, what is my right? I'll demand it, right? And of course, if you want yourself a shortcut, and so if you go with some money, a middleman will easily dispossess you of it. He will take maybe 70% and give 30% to the minister, which is very common. But first, I didn't have bribe. And I also somehow felt demeaning to bribe. I've given favors later to people. I have given them a helicopter sometimes, you know, with emergency and this and all that. But I never went groveling. Something happened to me, I would go and fight.
Yes.
And many times you are afraid to fight because they will come after you. But I think if there is moral force in you.
People ಎದುರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಬೇರೆ. They'll come after you. ED will come after you. They'll put you in jail. See, these things.
No, if you're already corrupt.
Yeah.
If you're already corrupt, and then try to give a moral lecture or try to attack them.
That is wrong.
That will definitely happen, and it should happen. But when you have
ನಾನು ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. I saw, without any names, I thought this very big politician from Karnataka who is known to be corrupt. It is corrupt, I think. He was doing some puja. Arati ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಅದೇ ಬರದೆ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ without his name and all that. When a politician who is corrupt does puja, how should God react? How should God react? So all these people have become worshippers to get the
I think it all, as you said, starts on two things. One is the intuition, which is that inner prompting that comes to you. The rest is tuition, which is important. But you have to learn to obey. It is obedience to that, faithfulness to that inner prompting, which many times we don't listen. And then we realize, somebody else already did it in an entrepreneurial way. The second thing is, this feeling of don't have a politician father or relative. I don't have a rich father. That you should not regret it. You should be fortunate that you're not born to
you are outstanding example. Now, we come from middle class families. We are all middle class families. We didn't have any, like I always say, we were never born with silver spoon, never married to silver spoon. But we have achieved all this. I think it should be an example for others.
Shakespeare in one kade ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, he says, men are sometimes masters of the fate. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings. So when you think you're inferior, when you think I'm poor, when you think don't have a rich politician, that's where the problem starts. When you're ashamed of your village background, actually we should be proud of it, right? We should be.
Our heritage should be our pride.
Not in the sense of worshipping the past and forgetting the present. But you should have that kind of inner, like we should have, even if what Vivekananda did. All these people, Vivekananda, Patel, Gandhi, Nehru, even Modi himself, you look at it, he came from it is democracy which made him possible to come here.
I see, there is a book written on this, Barbara Walters, the why democracies fail. See, the issue is, it is not through coups. It is not through anything. People who are elected in a democratic way take over and become autocrats, autocracy ಮಾಡಿ dictators ಥರ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. They are elected like that. Yeah. Even Hitler was elected by party.
They climb the steps of democracy and then throw the ladder.
Yeah, throw the ladder.
But eventually, I think, if you look at all the history.
But do you think present here, now USA compare ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, do you think today we have autocracy here, or is it some kind of democracy which is somewhat faltered?
Okay, two things. First, I want to make an opening statement. The best communism is not better than the worst democracy. The worst democracy is better than the
communism.
The best communism, which gives you wealth, because morning you're not there. But having said that, I also firmly believe that you also quoted right in the beginning. You always get the government you deserve. But typically what happens is that if you look at even our own internal party system now, all parties, without exception, are high command parties, autocratic parties. So BJP is not a dynastic autocratic. It is autocratic in a different manner because there is no inner party democracy, right? They have a semblance of it. They'll come and ask people whom you want to the chief minister. They'll go to Windsor Manor and say, whom do you want as chief minister, whom do you want as chief minister, take an opinion and say he is the chief minister. They do not hold secret ballot. In Congress itself, 135 years old, till during Nehru's time, the party had secret ballot to vote people. In fact, Purushottam Tandon was, I think, put up by Patel.
Yeah.
Nehru put up somebody else. As a prime minister, Nehru put up somebody else. Patel put somebody else. Patel's man won.
Correct.
And Subhash Chandra Bose, Gandhi opposed it.
He won.
And Subhash Chandra Bose won. So what I'm saying is that tradition, Congress itself has forgotten. Even today, as we speak now, in Congress, every day what they're saying, the High Command will answer. And the Mallikarjun Kharge himself is sitting next to him and says, High Command will answer. Where is the question of High Command?
Dynasty.
Yeah. So in Tamil Nadu, KRS, Nitish Kumar's party, in all the parties, there's High Command which is dynastic. In BJP, there is a different kind of a...
I'll ask you a general question.
So I'm saying, no, point I'm making is that if there is no inner party democracy, it's very difficult to get true democracy in the country also. Because while they fight with each other and kill each other, ready to kill each other to win an election against each other, within their own party they do not have.
You see in US, anybody can be any party. By standing in the primary, you win. Yeah. You can stand for any party.
Even against Trump.
Yeah.
All said and done, people voted for him. But Trump has to contest.
Yeah.
And then others, drop by the wayside.
Ivaga, one thing, now you said China has advanced so much. China, there is no democracy. There is autocracy or complete dictatorship type. Should people prefer that giving up freedom of speech and all in order to prosperity? Or do you think our independence, freedom of speech is more important, even though we don't bring that much? We may not really jump for prosperity growth. Because in 1990s, we and China were the same. Behind us. Now they are way ahead.
50 years ahead.
Yeah. So how does this lesson tell us it is very difficult in a democratic condition like in India to reach that point? So is that a better model, or still we should pursue with this Indian model?
Without batting an eyelid, hesitation, I should say that Indian model or the true democracy, a genuine democracy, because democracy can be hijacked. That means it is so much of defects are there in it. By using the existing system, you have a elected, like someone said, elected autocracy, right? Like even in state elections sometimes, the left was in power in West Bengal. There was so much of violence. The party cadre thought the party is the state. They said the party is the state. So when it gets blurred, that when you criticize the government, you become anti-national. I think that is a real danger. I think a country, V.S. Naipaul said very eloquently and very relevant to us, the Nobel laureate, he said, India should not ape either Singapore or Dubai and build a country of shopping malls.
Yes.
We need culture, we need openness, because Singapore is also a flawed democracy. But just because they have got, you can learn from that. But we also have countries which have great democracies, like Sweden, where they are not communist. Even America was chaotic, except now.
But only problem is when you compare Sweden or some European countries, well advanced, like Norway, Finland, they're very monolithic, small countries. But India is such a vast country with so many, apart from caste system, language, it's like a continent within India.
I think that is our strength.
Strength. But
this diversity.
But how
see, any great art, great science, great intellectual flowering happened also in India in the early days. It was also because of this Catholic where you absorbed everything. So I think life, everybody wants bread, And obviously, when bread is threatened, you will want authoritarianism. You will want authoritarianism. And also, when there is extreme appeasement of the castes and minorities, there will be a reaction for rightist. And there is extreme dictatorship, they want freedom. This is a pendulum, it's happened, even you can see, ultimately people vote with their stomach.
Yeah, but the issue here is, you have read Shashi Tharoor's Era of Darkness. Lot of books have been written. Golden Age of India, recently William Dampley has written. Silk Road, where India is glorified, how it was in trade. People look forward to come to India, trade, wealthy India. But colonization brought our GDP down to near zero, one of the highest in the world to zero. Do you think, you were an entrepreneur, you did great things, bringing the airways, really a trendsetter and all. But do we think as a majority, we are exceptions, what you did, what I did, we don't think colonization at all. We think we are as good as anybody else. Anybody in the West, we are as good or even better. That is the confidence we have. But as a nation, today, I believe when it comes to research, innovations, development, we are not into research. We don't innovate. It is because even in medical field, when I ask doctors, why are we not doing trials? We are literally forcing them data from US, data from Europe. Why not we create data? We have the largest number of head and neck cancer. We don't create data. We quote somebody's 15 patients as the data. When I go deep into it, it all boils down to the colonization effect. We still feel that we have not come out of it. Still we have not. That is why we don't invest in innovations. We don't, even drugs, for example, see, we are copycats. We don't make new drugs. All these big drug companies, when you ask them, they make generic. They copycat somebody's research. Somebody has spent a lot of, they're copycats. And we are trying to come out of it. Obviously, the people are talking, the government is talking, everybody is talking, will support, but corruption is coming in the way. Like you want to do some innovation, you want to do something, bribe comes in the way. Everything, everywhere there is issues which come. So, the question is, ultimately with all these problems, what should be the role of government? Like Henry David Thoreau said, the government is the best which doesn't govern at all. And Emerson said government is the best which governs the least. See, in my experience, the government interferes in everything. Government should become a monitoring agency, everything else. So when you look at this colonization effect, the role, I feel honestly for us, the wide gap in the wealth between the rich and the have-nots, per capita income of India is $2,000, 4,000, 2 lakh rupees.
2,000
yeah.
per year.
Per year. And you look at...
That is the average, but if you go to some rural parts of Bihar...
Bihar is $800. And still they elect the same government. Still they want the same government after. So, what is wrong with our system? How do we get this out of this?
I think these are the questions I have also wrestled many times with.
I'm sure you have with all your...
Because as someone said, you also said the good government is less government. Modi himself said that, maximum governance, minimum government. That was his slogan.
Certainly has not followed that slogan.
I think we are poor more because of our policies than because of our brains or resources. And even as you said now, if I looked at the blood pressure monitoring, it is made in Japan, okay? Licensed from Switzerland, made in Japan, sold by somebody here. I got a German tool, all-in-one 13 function tool, sold by Michael Bosch here. But I opened it and it says designed in Germany, made in China, sold here. So but the inventions of all these things is not even China. Though China today is already into patents and inventions.
Amazing,
in all fields.
Amazing.
If you look at even your
medical field,
your trimmer, mustache trimmer, it's a Philips trimmer but made in China. And if you look at any invention today, whether it is in Facebook or Google, in that
Deep,
field.
this one, no, the deep thought, which one is this? AI, Chinese.
Your internet, the laptop, deepfake is originally from America, but now Chinese have overtaken, right? And you see that Ramakrishnan, he was in Indian science, but he went to America and then UK and then got a Nobel Prize. Almost another 10 people who were Indians, they went there and got a Nobel Prize. Amartya Sen and Abhishek Banerjee.
Abhijit Banerjee.
And he was in Delhi School of Economics.
Correct.
Then he went to Oxford. Then he went to Harvard. So they go there and get the.
See, what is the story here? We have enough brains. We are capable.
I think
system is not allowing.
System is not allowing. Both I think the government itself is too much of controlling, and all said and done, on all these great inventions, barring I think gunpowder which China came on, every one of them, from printing press to electricity to telephony, the radium, the DNA, or in every field, anything that you are using, whether it is oil or plastics, there's nothing that you are using today which has been invented in India. Maybe in 2000 years ago, we were at the same level, we knew as much of casting as
Correct.
But I think after we lost the industrial revolution, if you look at
the colonization.
Yeah, steam engine, the jet engine, the radio, the telegraph, everything, the normal telephone, Alexander Graham Bell, in medicine also, everything is.
Honestly, when I went to United States, immigrated in 1975, it was shocking how I was even thought about. I went to practice outside of Chicago. They thought I was an exception to India. You won't believe some people thought who had fought in the Burma War and all. Are there still elephants roaming around the streets and bullock carts and cobras everywhere? I said, yeah, I had a thought of United States. He said, what? The natives, Americans, and you shooting, gun shooting and all going on here, ramping shooting. That is what I thought of America. See, this is the thinking they had about India. And even today, for them to accept India, as for example, you send a research paper. I sent a research paper, very well done, on cancer of the cervix, showing how with adding a certain drug you can get remarkable. It was in a major conference, we spoke about it. Good. Lancet, which is a famous medicine journal, said, I want to publish this. So they sent me a note, I sent everything back and all. Then one reviewer said, this data is too good to be true because it is coming from a third world. My God. That is the note he put. It was rejected. So many of our data is now rejected because they are afraid that we will take control. They are afraid.
No, but as you said,
we have to have our own journal.
But I said, as you have said about China now, today, if you see in any dialogue, India is not mentioned. It is China which is a threat, economically and militarily.
And any new inventions, China. And what you said, military also, some people say China is...
Absolutely. They have got, maybe America has a little edge, but today they have aircraft carriers, frigates, fighter jets, missiles. They have established a space station. But even in the other things, if I will just give you an example, for whatever reason, Modi announced, which was good, that he will have a bullet train between Bombay and Ahmedabad 10 years ago, right? It was supposed to have been completed. Now, after 3 days ago, in the newspaper, it came that they'll complete 100 kilometers. Out of the 550 kilometers, 100 kilometers they'll complete now in the next 1 year. They were supposed to do Bombay Ahmedabad 500. And China, which didn't have bullet train at all, today it has bullet train touching 530 cities. And you can start from Shanghai to Canton or Hong Kong, if you start at 9 o'clock in the morning to Beijing and Shanghai, which is 3,000 kilometers, you reach at 5 in the evening. 3,000 kilometers. Even today to go to Delhi, it will take you 36 hours. They have got more high-speed rail than the whole world put together. Whole world put together, they have got 3 times that. They have got 8 million electric cars. We are doing 100,000. They have produced more electric cars than the entire world put together.
I think one of the things is I think China was never colonized completely.
No, they were also under the British rule. They were also
Not
under
completely,
the
not China.
Yeah, they were under the Japan, they were under the British.
Partly, but they were never. 200 years nobody ruled like they did for us.
No, but
Part of it was self-confidence.
No, but many of them have risen, right? Many of them have risen.
Self-pride and research now. And one of the things is.
See, even look at, for example, our tourism. Let me come to a simple thing, okay? Today, the whole country put together, we get less than 5 million or 6 million foreign tourists, right? Thailand was also under rule. Thailand, Cambodia, Indonesia, they're getting 35, 40 million tourists. France gets 100 million foreign tourists, not the local tourists.
Yeah,
Even Maldives, you look at it, they're all Indians who have gone and settled there. Trinidad, Tobago, 40% are Indians. Indians are prime ministers there. They got it right. Today, luxury for travel to Mauritius and Maldives, which are Indians. So I'm saying there is something that is missing, as you said, and I think the answer to that is not authoritarianism of any kind, authoritarianism of either communism or this kind of flawed authority, which requires, self.
I think what it requires.
Pride in ourselves and hard work and less politics, because in everything today.
Because when I talk to the rural women who are working in Gundalpet, they don't have water except 2 days a week. There is lot of drainage is not good. But when you talk to them, like what we talked about Bihar, low per capita income, talk to them, because I talk to them, we talk to them at length. They are, content and they vote for the same people. Hope is what makes them. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸತಿ ಸರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದವ್ರೆ ಇದು ಸೇಮ್. ಸೊ this is the major issue of our country, which has been exploited by the system. Because for them, I talked to one politician. He said, we want poor to remain poor because that is our vote bank, doctor.
Yeah.
And he also told me, I said,
if you are giving so much of subsidy.
And I told the politician.
See, if you have, ultimately, you need to have 90% middle class and about 5% rich and 5% very poor. 90% must be asset-owning middle class because they have then, they are stakeholders in a stable society. They are because they got shares, they got assets, they got a house, they got a thing. So they're interested in going for a job. Business. But if you have 70% who are poor, who are jobless, who are looking for
and
jobs.
We take pride in we being poor. The politician said, yes, they're a vote bank. Then I asked him, what about empowering people, doing it? He looked at me, doctor, just see. At that point, he was a big minister himself. He said, just look at it, my house. How many people are waiting? One room there, 30 people waiting. Another room, 50 people are waiting outside. Do you think I'll give up all this? No way. People have to get it from me. They'll never give up. See, the power.
Candid. He was candid about his.
Very candid. I will give up. I enjoy this so much. I will do anything to keep my power. Look at the way people aspire to be ministers. Rather than saying, I'll work at my where I'm constituency, which politician has said, you have elected me, I will work for my constituency? Hardly anybody. Exceptions. Majority is like, when I become a minister, when am I going to be a minister? Power. See, the whole.
Also, as I said, when I said inner party democracy, even in the West today, with all the flaws that America has, still, they're already rebelling against Trump. You see, a senator, when he's elected for 2 years, and the congressman, he goes back to his constituency and discusses what he should vote on.
Correct.
on any issues, abortion.
Why? I have a reason. Why?
But they go back, and then if you vote against your party,
You're thrown out.
you're not in America.
There. You hear.
Here you are thrown out.
See,
So
they.
you are mortgaged your
Yeah.
soul to the party, right? So
They-
once you become a MLA, you have lost your
Correct.
voice now.
There, what happens is, we talked about this in our Antarjali
You have seen,
movement.
a Democrat can vote in the Senate or the Congress against his party.
Yeah.
He's not considered an anti-party.
You can't throw them out because the people have elected you. And see, another issue is taxpayers. 90% pay tax. In India, 2% pay tax. We have discussed this in our Antarjali seminars. So I asked the politician, we pay tax, everything, don't we have a right? And one bureaucrat also. He said, doctor, what right can I give you? Because you are only 2% of the population. My rights is to the people who vote for me. See, those who don't pay tax are my. That is why farmers don't pay tax, because they are my vote bank. The slum people are my vote bank. Why would I will listen to you? You will have to continue to pay your tax and never listen to you. That you can have your ideas, you can have your views, but you will never succeed because you are a high tax paying person. You say road is bad. Road is bad. But you have no right to question it because you are not my vote bank. And another thing is, of course, those who pay high tax don't even go and vote perhaps. So
that's true.
That is also true.
Yeah,
So
Bangalore
anyway,
only 48% voted. Yeah.
so as we come to this thing, I know we have to do a lot more with you. Where we have not gone deep into a lot of things, Captain Gopinath. And I think as we come to this, I would like to hear your final views on this country. You left army, came back, left everything, started airlines, started a lot of things, and you are giving back to society so much. I have come back from US, did everything in cancer field, now in the social field. What is it we should look for? Sometimes when you look at it, it's very disheartening. Yes. I think, like I said, we have no rights, you think. But what is it we can do rest of our lives to, as you said, failure, we should never worry about failure. To make a change, at least take the path to it. Failure, okay, but we should be trendsetters. What is it? Even at our age, what we can do?
I think two observations. I think you are very right. In fact, I wrote on one article when suddenly we started getting, so and so became head of IBM. Google is Sundar Pichai.
Yeah.
Microsoft is Nadella.
Yeah.
Right? Then Twitter, that guy became Indian. This one, everybody was celebrating. So many Indians who have become CEOs. IBM, Krishna, Novartis. Yeah. So
World Bank.
So I said, actually, who should celebrate? America must celebrate because they had the the vision that if their country has to succeed, they have to get the best talent. Yes. So that means none of these people created an enterprise. It is obviously you have to be proud of them. If your brother, son, daughter becomes CEO of Google or FedEx now, you have to be proud of it. But who should be celebrated? It's the American democracy, which allowed, in fact, I think
opportunity.
Which I think Nadella or Pichai himself said once, I'll be proud when you praise me that if a Pakistani come back to India or a Bangladeshi immigrant becomes the CEO of Infosys, on that day I'll be proud. But today, he has joined a company which has set up as somebody else. The great entrepreneurs are them. So we have to, today, people like you have come back. But most of them are leaving today because there are problems here, right? Politics, corruption, roads are bad, all kind of things. So they leave. But look at the era in 1920s, when we were under British rule, when Gandhi
Yeah.
went to London, Subhash Chandra Bose went to London, Aurobindo went to London, Sardar Patel went to London, Jai Prakash Narayan went to London. They all became, barristers. But they came back because there's a problem. There's a difference. Because many are
Correct.
leaving because there's a problem. And they came back because problem of not just freedom, that was the primary, because they also came back because of the poverty. How to remove casteism, how to remove superstition, how to get them about ignorance. So I think for all of us, we should not lose ourselves in despair. We have to lose ourselves in action only.
Action.
Not losing ourselves in despair. And there's a famous poem famous line by Tagore, which says, there's only one line. The whole collection is that only. So it says it is a dialogue between the night and the stars. So the stars say to the night, let me not debate whether my light will help remove darkness.
Yeah.
Because it's only sun removes darkness, right? So he says, let me not debate whether my light will help remove darkness. That means you do what you can.
Yes.
You do what you can.
I think that is a good ending. I think we have to continue to be
And you yourself are
positive.
a great inspiration even for me.
But you are too.
Even for me, you're a...
No, we have to continue the dialogue also. We will have a different dialogue, different format.
Maybe after a few months.
Definitely we should. And thanks, Captain Gopinath. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.